Hello everyone, and welcome to Whispers of Turkish Stars. Settle in, because today we're unfolding a story that many suspected, few understood, and only now is finding its voice. Before we dive deep, remember to subscribe and share so you don't miss the next twist. Now, to what has quietly shaken Turkish showbiz. According to people close to her, Yağmur Yüksel has finally opened up about a deeply personal chapter she'd kept tucked away for months. Behind her poised appearances and carefully crafted public silence, there was a heartbreak she hadn't wanted to name. In private, in a moment of unguarded honesty with trusted friends, she reportedly admitted that her long relationship with Barış Baktaş ended in the most abrupt way imaginable. She didn't dramatize it, she didn't blame, she simply said, with trembling composure that cracked as the words left her, that Barış ended things by phone. Not a drawn-out conversation. Not a face-to-face goodbye. A call. A brief, cooling sentence, and then the line going quiet. Those near her say that reminder still hits like a wave, bringing back the same sting each time she remembers that afternoon. They insist she struggled to keep her voice steady when recounting it, that tears came in bursts she tried to restrain out of pride, and that even now she flinches at the thought of a message alert lighting up her screen. Months have passed, yet the echo of that ringtone still lives on in her memory, attached to an ending she never saw coming. As this revelation trickles into the public sphere, it revives questions that never truly faded, only paused while both of them kept their distance from the noise. It was never officially announced that they had split, the whispers did the work, the timelines spoke in guesses, and the photos gradually stopped appearing together. People noticed the absence without a caption to explain it. Their final joint appearances were parsed like clues, their last interviews revisited to hear hints no one caught in real time. And now, with this intimate confession piercing the hush, observers are trying to stitch the story into a picture that makes sense. What did we miss? How did a couple that once seemed bound by rhythm and routine drift so far out of sync? Those who have worked around them describe a relationship that had, like any real one, bright stretches and clouds. There were days when they moved like collaborators in perfect time, swapping ideas, sharing little jokes tucked between takes, encouraging each other to push past tiredness and deliver. There were seasons when their schedules collided, when commitments tugged them in opposite directions, and the hours left for the two of them were small and frayed at the edges. Through all of that, their supporters believed they would find the route back. They always had before. But this time, instead of a quiet reconciliation, the silence thickened. And when the silence finally broke, it wasn't with a statement to the press or a carefully worded post. It was with Yağmur's voice shaking in a private room, telling the people who love her that the last chapter closed in a way that still pains her to repeat. Her admission, now making its way into the conversation, has stirred deep sympathy among fans who grew up admiring her steadiness and grace. She has always been selective about what she shares, not because she is calculated, but because she knows the cost of letting the crowd into the places that bruise. People close to her say that restraint made this all the harder, holding it in, pretending to be fine, smiling for cameras while the hurt kept changing shape underneath. They say the quiet was protective at first, then isolating, and finally too heavy. The moment she finally let it out, that a phone call ended something she thought deserved a goodbye in person, the room went hushed. She wasn't angry, they say. She was disappointed in how quick endings can be when a relationship takes years to build. In the commotion that follows any confession like this, social media has done what it always does. Some have rushed to stand with her, writing messages of support, telling her she doesn't have to perform composure for anyone, reminding her that being vulnerable doesn't mean being weak. Others urge caution, asking not to pass judgment until both sides have spoken, pointing out that pain can blur details and that only the two of them know the full, complicated map of how they got here. In the eye of that storm sits Barış Baktaş, who, as of this recording, has not offered any public comment. That silence invites theories, but it is also all we have. Those who've worked with him describe a man who keeps his private life offstage, who prefers to let his craft speak and leaves speculation unanswered. To some, that's admirable, to others, it's frustrating, to most, it's simply another blank space in a story that keeps writing itself without author's notes. What's clear is that the absence of his perspective deepens the mystery. Did the pressures of constant attention wear them down? Did clashing calendars become a wall neither could climb? Or was it simply that two people changed in ways they couldn't reconcile, and when the reckoning arrived, he chose the speed of a call instead of the weight of a meeting? Only they know. What we can say, from those who sit near both circles, is that their relationship bore the imprint of real tenderness. They shared long nights building ideas, cancelled plans to make room for each other's deadlines, and leaned on inside jokes during promotions that felt endless. They believed in each other's talent, and at their peak, they defended each other in rooms where not everyone was kind. This is part of why the ending stings for her, say friends, because endings that come after effort feel like doors slamming on the very work that kept you believing. And yet, even in this, there is a certain poise to how she's handling the blow. She has not issued a formal statement. She has not pointed fingers. The words we have are secondhand, softly carried from a private moment. Still, that small window has been enough to take the story from background murmur to front-page wonder. The tabloids have circled back, spotlighting old footage, studying gestures as if they were lines on a poem that could forecast a break. But if you look closer, beyond the hunger for clues, you see something truer: two people navigating the end of a bond in a world that refuses to give them room to grieve in peace. For fans who followed their journey, the shock is personal. They remember the easy way they stood together during interviews, the way one would glance at the other when answering a question with a shared subtext, the playful moments that slipped past the serious facade. That's the image many carry. Not scandal, not betrayal, but a friendship layered with affection. It makes the news of a phone call goodbye feel jarring, like a book that jumps from chapter 20 to the last page with half the story ripped out. Still, there is something gently empowering about how this is unfolding for her. Without speeches or curated disclosures, she has reminded everyone that even public figures have private thresholds, and that dignity is not the same as silence. By trusting her friends with the truth of her experience, she took control of a narrative that threatened to keep rewriting itself without her consent. And the result is not a roar, not a takedown, but a quiet clarity that resonates: "This is how it happened for me, and it hurt." Those lines have echoed especially among younger followers who look to her for more than red carpet moments. They see a woman refusing to stage manage her wounds, refusing to package her sadness as content, and they respond with empathy. Messages pour in: "Take your time, we're with you, your worth is not measured by who stays." These aren't the optics of a scandal, they're the contours of a community around a person who has always given more craft than confession. Meanwhile, the future remains unwritten. Will she choose to speak in full, on her terms, when the moment feels right? Will he decide to share his point of view, to balance what's now public with context only he can provide? Or will both let this wave pass, returning to their work with the intimacy of their history locked between them? Predictions are cheap, healing is not. Those close to her say the air around her is different now, lighter, even as it carries the ache. There's relief in naming what happened, in no longer fielding questions with a smile that masks a bruise. And there's resolve, too. She's reportedly found solace in long walks, in visits with her family, in a routine built from small steady things: tea left to steep, scripts annotated at dawn, headphones on to block the clamor. Her friends protect the space around her, drawing soft borders so the curious don't walk in. And in that quiet, her heart is learning the slow, unglamorous pace of mending. The irony, of course, is that storytelling brought them together again and again, through appearances, through shared circles, through the electricity of being seen as a pair. And it's storytelling that now frames the end, where each detail becomes an object others hold up to the light, hoping to divine meaning. But not every ending is loaded with hidden codes. Sometimes it is just as she reportedly said: a call, a decision, a door closing. If there is a lesson here, it may be this: even lives lit by cameras are allowed ordinary pain. A relationship can break in a way that feels too small for what it was, and it can still be true. And when the person who was left behind finally says it out loud, even in a room with just a few trusted souls, the truth can move like a tide, reaching everyone who needs the reminder that they are not alone in having loved bravely and lost suddenly. For now, the last word belongs to that private moment. A voice catching. A sentence landing like a stone in quiet water. And then a choice: to keep living, to keep creating, to step back into the public eye without pretending that nothing happened. If she does speak more openly one day, it will likely be with the same calm she brought to that fragile confession. If he responds, perhaps he will ask for the same understanding he has asked for all along, that not everything belongs to the public. Until then, we will hold the facts gently. That a relationship many admired has ended, that one of them has, at last, described the way it ended for her, and that the other has chosen silence. Not villains. Not saints. Just two people whose timelines no longer meet. And maybe that is enough story for now. You've been watching Whispers of Turkish Stars, where we try to tell these moments with care. If this touched you, share it with someone who needs the reminder that every public headline has a private heart. Don't forget to subscribe so you'll be here when the next chapter, whatever it is and whenever it arrives, unfolds before us.